All right, so in this video, I want to talk about simplifying logarithmic expressions. All right, so let's write it down. Simplifying logarithmic expression. All right, so this is assuming that you already know what a logarithm is, where essentially you have, you have some log base a of x equals y. So that's essentially saying what power of a will give you y. That's what this is. No, what power of a to the what power will give you x, and y is that power. So in other words, a to the y is equal to x. What power of a will give you x, and that's y. Okay. All right. So anyhow, when we talk about simplifying logarithmic expressions, we're talking about essentially you have an expression that has logarithms in it that can be simplified. It's that simple. But before I go into how to do that, it's important to remember the three laws of logarithms. I'm going to write this here: logarithmic laws. All right, law number one is as follows. So if you have log base a product of x and y, that is equal to all right, so basically if you have the log of xy with base a, then that's the same thing as the log of x plus the log of y. So in other words, if you have a product in here, then you can essentially break that up into log base a of that x plus the log base a of that y. It's important to understand that this goes in the opposite order as well. So if you have something, a log plus a log with the same base, then you can combine those into a single log where those x and y are multiplied times each other. The second law is as follows. If you have log base a of something divided by something, x over y, that's the same as log of the top one minus log of the bottom one. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, that's a vice versa kind of thing too. Number three, if you have this situation, log base a of some number x to the r power, that's the same as r times log base a of x. So in other words, if you have inside of that logarithm, if that's raised to a power, you can actually pull that power out and multiply it times the log. So that's the same thing, in other words. All right, so let's actually put this into, let's do an example and see what we come up with. So let's do this example. So say you have 3 log base 4 of x minus 5 base 4 y is 2 log base 4 of z. Okay, so this is actually going to have us using, I think, all of these laws. So first of all, you see you have 3 logs all with the same base, and so they can be combined. That's the thing to remember. You have to have the same base to combine the logarithms, and you do. And then you also see you have each of these logarithms that has a constant in the front. So we're going to see that we can actually put that constant on the inside of that logarithm, of each of those logarithms. So that r, in other words, putting it inside there with the x, and it becomes the exponent of that x. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to do it step by step. The first thing I'm going to do, since it's kind of hard, it's difficult to combine these with these constants here. So let's go ahead and do something about those constants. Specifically, we're going to use logarithmic law number 3 first and put those constants inside of the logs as the exponent, as the power of that variable. Okay, so that becomes, so I'm going to do it all in one stage. So it's log base 4 of x cubed. Okay, so all we did is, using logarithmic law number 3, we moved that constant in there with the variable, minus log base 4 of y to the 5th plus log base 4 of z squared. Okay, all right, so that's using logarithmic law number 3. All right, so let's combine it further. We have a log minus a log, so we can apply logarithmic law number 2, excuse me. And we're just going to do this. We're going to apply this one, and then we're going to apply this other one later on. All right, so logarithmic law number 2 says if you have a log minus a log and they have the same base, then that argument on the inside, you can combine those into one log where those arguments are the first one divided by the second. So that's going to apply to these two right here. Okay. So I want to move that. So that becomes, we're combining these two, and this one is going to just stay for now. So it's going to be log base 4. So that first one divided by the second one. So that's going to be x cubed, make that clear, over y to the 5th. Then that's going to be plus this other piece right here, plus log base 4 of z squared. Okay, hopefully that's okay. All right, so that was applying logarithmic law number 2. All right, finally, we have a log plus a log of the same base. And so we will be able to combine them by multiplying the arguments. All right, so let's go ahead and combine those and we'll be done. So that's going to be one logarithm, log base 4. And when you multiply x cubed over y to the 5th times z squared, that's going to be at the top with x cubed. So it's going to be x cubed z squared over y to the 5th. Close that, and we are done. Okay, and so that was applying logarithmic law number 1. Just take your time, apply each one one at a time, and then it should be pretty easy to see how to do this stuff. Just don't try to do too many things at once. All right, let's go ahead and do one more example and we'll close this video out. Give me a second while I erase this stuff here. Yeah, when you take your time and you can really see what's happening, it can actually be pretty fun. Pretty fun stuff because it makes sense. All right. Now let's do this one right here. So essentially we have 1/3 log base 2 of x plus 2/3 log base 2 of y minus 3. Okay. All right. So again, I want to get rid of that constant first. I want to go ahead and move that constant inside the argument. So let's do that in this stage. Again, applying logarithmic law number 3 first. So it's going to be log base 2 of x to the 1/3 power plus log base 2 of y to the 2/3 power. And then all of that minus 3. Okay. All right. So now we have the addition of two logs of the same base. So we can use logarithmic law number 1, where we have the addition of two logarithms with the same base. So let's do that. So you have log base 2 of the following product, x to the 1/3, y to the 2/3. All of that minus 3. Now, if you remember how roots work, then this is the same thing as the cube. X to the 1/3 is the same thing as the cubed root of x. And y to the 2/3 is the same thing as the cube root of y squared. So you can combine these even further. So this becomes log base 2 of the cubed root of x, y squared. Because again, the cube root of x is the same as x to the 1/3. The cube root of y squared is the same thing as y to the 2/3. Close that, all that minus 3. Okay, and so that's pretty much it. So yeah, just make sure when you simplify logarithmic expressions, just look. I would look to see if you can take that constant and put it on the inside of that logarithm argument, just to go ahead and get rid of that and make it easier to combine the logarithms. Make sure that every logarithm has the same base before you combine it, okay? And apply each law one at a time. Do all your work, take every step, so that you can see it, and it's good to practice it that way. All right. Well, good. Hopefully this is this been helpful for you. Make sure you subscribe to mathswaptutoring.com or /subscribe, and then subscribe to this YouTube page as well. All right, thanks.